Before we start, just understand this is not a signal service. Everything you see here is for educational purposes only. Trading involves risk, and the goal here is not to follow trades, it's to learn the process behind them.
Good morning, good morning. Oh, didn't even do a thing, but anyway. Good morning and welcome to I'm the Trader Capital Live Trading Floor. Another week, we back at it is Monday, June 15th. First and foremost, all glory to the Most High God. Let's bow our heads for a quick prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for your grace and your mercy. We thank you for another opportunity to try again to learn and grow in these markets. Father, we ask that your will be done today as it is in heaven. Father, I ask that you give us the heart of a giver and make us a lover of our neighbor. Please let me not lead anyone that listens to me astray, but use me as a vessel to bring your children back onto you. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Can the church say amen? Amen. Let's begin. Before we jump into the charts, I just want to say this. There was a time I used to sit down on the charts with no real plan, jumping between strategies, losing, blowing accounts, second guessing every entry, and honestly just hoping that the trade would work. And that's where most traders are today, not because they're not capable, but because they don't have a structured process. The biggest pitfalls that causes traders to fail is that they have no knowledge on money, they don't know how to lose, they don't know how the markets operate, and they don't have a winning model. 90% of traders fail, all 90% are plagued with one or more of these pitfalls. Today, I'm going to show you the 3 pillars that every trader must have in their trading to survive and thrive in the financial markets, so you can join the 10% who succeed and fast track your way to the top 1% of the wealthiest people on this planet. It's called the 10% to 1% club. Let's go. Woo! But before we dive deep into the 3 core pillars, when you step into this arena, on this battlefield, you must first have 2 crucial realizations. Realization number 1, trading is war. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is the hardest thing that you will ever do in your life. Realization number 2, all traders are money managers. As a trader, your ability to manage money is vital to your survival in this industry and in life as we know it. Most traders think that success in the markets comes from finding the perfect strategy or catching the biggest moves. But the reality is, trading success is built on 3 core pillars. First is money and mindset. This is the foundation of success. Then is risk management. This is the holy grail of trading. This is what will keep you in the game long after everybody else has quit. And lastly, we have trading edge. This is where all traders start. I know this because this is where I started. That's why in today's session, we're going to hone in on your trading edge. Now, everything that we do here is built around one thing, and that is confidence in your trading edge. And I am the Trader Capital. Our confidence comes from 3 things. First, it comes from understanding how the market actually operates. Not what social media says, but how money truly moves. Second is having one trader model. One model with IPDA signatures that we trust and execute on a consistent basis. Third is having a plan and a process, because without a plan and a process, you're just reacting to price and you're winging it each and every time. And this right here, this session, this is where we focus on the 3rd piece, the process. So many people lose confidence in trading and in life because they simply don't have a plan. There's no process they're following. There's no procedures and protocols that they're abiding by. They literally are just winging it. And they wonder why they can't get consistent. They wonder why there's ups and downs in their equity curves. They literally can't figure it out. The uncertainty of not knowing exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it, why and when you're doing it in the market will cause you to fail in trading. Confidence and certainty are key if you want to be successful in trading, and it's your responsibility as the trader, as the analyst, as the fund manager. It's your responsibility to attain that confidence, not only in your model, but also in your processes. So what I want to do right now real quickly is I want to share with you the process that we teach all our analysts at I'm the Trader Capital, and then we'll see that process live in action. This is the 3-step trading process. Step 1, condition. This is where we determine our bias. Before we even think about entering a trade, we need to know the market program. Are we in a buy program or sell program? This is where the market shows its hand. Then we have step 2, stage. This is what sets up your trade and what does your trade look like. There are two types of trades, retracement setups and continuation setup. Then we have step 3, execution. This is how you're going to enter, manage, and close the trade. At I'm the Trader Capital, we have 4 entry criteria before executing. I'm not here to force trades. I'm here to execute my plan step by step in real time. All right, let's get into the live trading flow. Now, as you're watching, don't just look for entries. Pay attention to the process behind the entries, because this is what will get you into the 10% of traders who succeed. And if you want to go further to the 1%, well, that's where we break down all 3 pillars inside of the program. I used to think that winning trades built confidence, but it's not the wins. It's knowing exactly what you're doing, when you're doing it, how you're doing it, and why you're doing it before, during, and after each trade. And that is what we're building here. Let's begin with our daily trading processes. Weekly target going to this week is 3%. All right, as always. Mental check-in, feeling generally okay. All right, excited to see what price action has in store for us today. Excited to continue to grow. All right, and get 1% better. Nothing of note to mention really. I'm excited to get into price action today. I had a good back testing session this weekend, so I'm excited to walk it forward and see what the market is saying this week. Woo! I accept any risk that comes with trading today. I understand that trading comes with real risk and that losing is part of the battle. News. All right, it's Monday, June 15th. We have medium impact news come out at 8:30. High impact news come out at 9:15. All right, when we kicked off. Another medium impact news coming out at 10 o'clock. So we have news today, making it an optimal day to take a trade. Risk going into today, we're at 0.25 of account size, and we have a max of 0.75 per account per day. Right? Weekly program hasn't been established yet. All right, because I need Monday's range to be complete, 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. to be complete, and that will give me my Monday's range, which will give me my weekly. Which side of that range gets taken will give me my weekly program. But let's go ahead and adjust our higher time frame ranges. See if we need to do that. I think I did that last night before I shut this computer down. Yeah, so I'm going to need Monday's range to complete, all right, to get our weekly program. So we don't have a weekly program established yet until after today. 20 day, it's good. We got previous week, good. Took previous week's buy side, all right. So if you're using previous week to determine your weekly condition, right, you'd be in a buy program going into this week, right? But for me, I use Monday's range. I use the current week's price action, or the current day's price action, right, to determine my weekly. But if you want to use previous day and previous week, you can also do that. For the condition, right, if you're using previous day, we already blew past previous day's high. So if you were using previous day's range, right, you'd be in a buy program going into today. All right, for your step 1, it would be condition, depending on what range you're using. Okay, so there's multiple ranges that you can use to determine different conditions, and it's a personal preference. Anyway, all good here on the higher time frame. We can go ahead and carry on with our trading processes. 3-step process. Hey. We changed contracts this week, I believe. Yep, it's this week. Just waiting on open interest and volume to be more on the September contract, more volume, but open interest is more on the current contract. Okay. Anywho, let's carry on. Step 1, condition, right? Condition, determine a bias. Like I said, if you're using previous day's range to determine your bias, right, you already be coming into a buy program because we're way above previous day's range. We jumped above it, to be honest. Wasn't even traded to and through. But for me, all right, I like to use current price action to determine my daily condition. My session condition is determined by open range after from 9:30 to 10 o'clock. Nee, take notes on all of these things, all right? So for the daily condition, we go from 12 a.m. to current price action, all right, to 9:15. 9:15 for me will be obviously 2:15 for you. We note the lowest low from 12 a.m. to current price action. Lowest low. Take notes because I'll be asking you all of these things today, all right? Lowest low to the highest high. That's currently the highest high. And just like that, we got our dealing range, okay? So in order to determine our condition, step one, we have to identify a dealing range, all right? And you can use previous day's range to determine the day's condition, or you can use from 12 a.m. to current price action, right, to determine your condition for the day. Now, if you want to talk about a session condition, we use 9:30 to 10 o'clock, the highest high and the lowest low. That will give us our session range, and then whichever side of that is taken will give us our condition for the session. Okay, but for the day, we go from 12 a.m. to current price action, lowest low to highest high, and then we wait for one side of that to get taken, all right, for price to trade to and through one side of that. If we trade to and through buy side, which is the high, I'm waiting for this candle to close, all right? So I'm going to wait for this candle to close, and I'll adjust as this candle closes. So if we trade to and through the high, all right, would be in a buy program. And if we trade to and through the low, would be in a sell program. Questions? If you have questions, ask them, all right? If you have questions, ask them. If something doesn't make sense and you're not understanding, feel free to ask a question. All right? Yeah? Are you listening? Okay, I'll slow down. All right, all right. Anyway, for what you need to focus on, right, is for for your condition for the day, right? For the day, we go from 12 a.m., right? Monday, 12 a.m. to current price action. Let's say 9:15 to 9:15. 12 a.m. to 9:15. For you, it will be 2:15, okay? For you, it will be 2:15. Good morning, good morning. The real menu's in a bitty. Did you get that? And then for the session, for a session condition, title that session condition. It's 9:30 for you, which will be 2:30, all right, to 3 p.m. 2:30 to 3 p.m. All right, we're kicking off. All right, ooh, decent size open range gap like that. We took dealing range buy side. All right, as you can see, we traded to and through the buy side here. So our condition for the day has been established as a buy program. Okay, because we took the high. So we're going into today in a buy program, looking to be a buyer of this market. Open range gap, big open range gap. I like that. It means we're going to see some good price action today. It's below price. Okay, so we gapped up, so we have a premium gap up. Don't worry about that. So right now, okay, we have a premium gap up. Session condition is from 9:30 or 2:30 to 3 p.m. Because sometimes, all right, in the morning, our dealing range, our daily condition, all right, our dealing range don't get hit, all right. We can go based on the session condition. So we have different conditions, right? We have a weekly condition, we have a daily condition, and we have a session condition. All right, those are the three conditions that we can go based off by. We typically, all right, based our trading on the daily and the session condition. Okay, so your main focus is the daily condition and the session condition. And for the daily condition, we go from 12 a.m. to current price action. For you, it'll be 12 a.m. to 2:30. I mean 2:15. Sorry, 12 a.m. to 2:15 for you. So if you're trading in the morning, that's morning session. Exactly, right? Afternoon, opening range for the afternoon will be, yeah, afternoon session, all right. And the dealing range is for the whole day. Exactly. Hmm. I'm trying, I'm trying, I'm trying. So need daily condition is 12 a.m. to 2:30, all right, and your morning session condition is 2:30 to 3 o'clock. That time frame, that time range, you want the highest high and the lowest low. 12 a.m. to 2:15. I keep forgetting to 2:15. Does it make sense, Nee? That's your main focus today, just conditions, okay? That's all you need to worry about. Just the step one, condition. All right. So what time is the morning session then? Condition. Where do we determine what time frame do we determine our morning session condition? Sorry. 2:30 to 3 p.m. for you. Okay. What you just typed is for the daily condition. That's for the daily condition. It's 12 a.m. though. 12 a.m. to 2:15. For the session, it's 2:30 to 3 p.m. for you. Yeah? Yeah. What do you say? All right, cool. Make sense? Type it in the chat. Condition, I want the time frame for the day and for the session. Type it so I know that you understand. So for the session, it will be 2:30 to 3 p.m. It's my favorite time of the week. Money and mindset. Oh, mate, where you going? What is happening right now? Money and mindset Monday. I lost my stuff. Yep. Daily. Yep. 12 a.m. to 2:15. Session is 2:30 to 3. Yep. So within those set of time frames, right? We want to note the highest high and the lowest low. Okay. And whichever side is taken will give us our condition. Just like this morning, we took dealing range buy side here for the day. We traded to it and through it. All right, we're in a buy program, right? We got step one established as a buy program for the day. We're still waiting for the session, right? Because the session will complete in about 23 minutes. Have that in your notes, okay? I will be asking, okay, randomly. I'm going to ask you throughout the day. Okay, you better have the answers. Repeat, please. Bro, which part do you want me to repeat? Highest high and lowest low between those two time frames. So for the day, like you said, 12 a.m. to 2:15. All right, we know the highest. We'll get deeper into that. What you just said. Highest high and lowest low. Okay, so bear with me here. If you look at my chart, here, from 12 a.m. all right, which is right here, this white line says 12 a.m. to this candlestick right here, which will be your 2:15, but my 9:15. I'll put a vertical line to this candle right here. Okay, the lowest low is right here and the highest high is right here, just like that. That gives us our daily range, all right, to determine our daily condition, right? And as you can see, we took the buy side, we took the high of it. This was the high and this is the low down here. This blue line is the high, this red line is the low. Price traded to and through the blue line. Okay, so we're in a buy program. Make sense? Same thing will go for the session when it's complete, and I'll walk you through that as well. Did you get what you needed to get from that? You're leaving at 3. All right, mate. Did you get everything that you need? Well, you got everything that you need to get for step one, okay? Condition. That was your main focus today. When you get home, make sure you rewatch the stream, okay? Trying to educate the youth out here in these streets, you know what I mean? Getting my fund manager ready. Ready for the big boy league. Looking for traders, alright? We train you. I'm the Trader Capital is looking for traders. We train you. Little bro's gonna be a beast at this bit. Alright, money and mindset. We talking money and mindset today. It's Monday, first day of the week. Get your money right. Get your mind on your money. If you just blew it over the weekend, all right, we're gonna start to adjust your thinking and your mindset on money, all right, so you don't do what you did this weekend all over again, right? If you didn't blow it this weekend, good on you, good for you, all right. If you use the weekend to build the life that you want, that's what it's all about, okay? It's all about that net income, right? We're trying to get our net income as fat as possible, okay? Net income is what you have left over for investments, okay? So we're trying to get our net income as fat as possible. As we already established, 99% of the planet, right, of the world, 99% of them, they use their net income for lifestyle and entertainment. So just this weekend alone, they went outside and they blew their net income on drinks and buying bottles and all of that crap and just living a lifestyle and entertaining themselves, right? While they have no passive income, which is what you don't want to do. Which is what you don't want to do. But if you don't know these things, right, then you won't know what to do with your money. And that's why on Mondays and Fridays, we get your mind on your money here. We get your mind on your money. My favorite topic to talk about. My favorite topic to talk about, okay? Money, 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 money. Money. We live on an economical planet, okay? Money impacts every person on this planet, all right? Whether you're my brother's age, he's 14 now, right? He's looking for ways to make money, right? He's looking for ways to make money because he has things he wants to buy, but he don't have money, right? His money comes from his mom. Or right now, I think he's reselling things, right? Looking for ways to make money, right? He's reselling some of his clothes and do all of that stuff. Just looking for ways to make money, and that's all we know in the beginning, right? That is all we know in the beginning is that we need money, right? We want money, right? We want money. We need it, all right. Obviously, to do the things that we want to do in life, right? Everything comes at a cost, and that's all we know in the beginning. That's all I knew in the beginning, right? I learned from my mom to be a go-getter, right? To go get the money, right? But that's all I knew. I needed to get the money, but really, I didn't really know much about once I got the money, what am I doing with it? What was money really and truly. And you don't know what you don't know, right? It's up to us to seek that information and what we don't know, right? If there's a 1%, right? If somebody's been able to join the 1%, that means it's possible, right? That means somebody has done it, and success leaves clues, all right? If one person has done it, that means we can all do it, right? In the beginning, we don't really know much about money aside from the fact that we need it to do the things that we want to do. To get the things that we want to get, we have to have money, all right? And that's all my brother knows right now, okay? I'm trying to, as I learn and educate myself, I'm trying to impart those wisdom onto him. We haven't got deep into money and mindset with him yet. Okay, I'm starting him off small, just trying to get his mind hooked onto this trading thing. And once he understands the power of it and what it can do, all right, in terms of him wanting to make money, right? This is where he can do that. So money and mind. When it comes to money, right? When it comes to money, there's only two things that we need to know about money. There's only two things you need to know about money. Disregard everything else that you've been taught about money for right now, right? Put it to the back of your mind, right? And there's only two things that we need to know about money. We'll dig deeper into that today when we talk about money and mindset. But how to make it? Get it. Take away the make it to get it, because we don't make it, all right? It's illegal for us to make it. Once it's made, it's our job to get it, right? We get money. We don't make money, right? We legally cannot make money, all right? We have to get the money. But yeah, the three house, you're on the right track. You're on the right track. You've heard this enough. Yeah, you need to be paying attention, mate. Yeah, you need to be paying attention. Rich is about to go pick up Ben right now. You could call him real quick. As I was saying, I didn't really learn much about money from my mom. All right, all I took from her, which is valuable, right, is the go getter mindset that we need to get that money. All right, because we need it. All right, and that's the majority of us here, right? From our parents, right? They don't really know much about money aside from the fact that they needed money, all right, to take care of us, all right, to take care of the household. But they don't, well, unless they do, right? Unless you have a millionaire or billionaire parents and they teach you about money, that's a different story. I didn't come from that background. I'm talking to the people that didn't come from that background, all right? Okay? We don't know much about money aside from the fact that we need to get the money, all right? Now we need to start asking ourselves questions like, what do we know about money? All right, what do we know to be true about money that isn't really true? Because there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of myths about money that we're told, all right, that our parents have been told, all right, and their parents have been told about money that's keeping a lot of us broke, okay? That's keeping a lot of us broke. What do you believe to be true about money that isn't true, right? Right now, what's your current thinking on money? Like, what do you think money is? What is money to you? What the concept of money? What is it? Like, what do you know about it? You know, ask yourself that. What do you really know about it? And is it true? Right? Have you done the research? Have you looked it up and what's the word I'm looking for? And confirmed if it's true or not, what you believe or think to know about money. Is it true or not? Has somebody out there proven that what you know about money is true or is not true, right? And we're going to get into all that right now. First, we're going to get into the misconceptions and myths about money. Okay, this is the agenda on the money and mindset. Okay, we're going to get into the misconceptions and myths about money. Okay, the things that we're taught to be true about money that really isn't true, right? Things that are what's the word I'm looking for? Things that have been perpetuated in the world, right, about money that people to this day still like hold it as law but aren't really true. Okay, now we're going to go into the only two things that you need to know about money. We're going to scrap everything that you think you know about money. All right, everything that you think you need to know about money, these are the only two things you need to know about money. We'll get into that. Then we'll get into the wealth creation equation and formula. All right, if one person has created wealth, okay, that means there's a formula. All right, there's a formula that we need to follow in order to create wealth. Okay, we're going to dig deeper into um, the equation and the formula. Okay, the greatest wealth building tool, all right, which I believe is trading. All right, the trading business is the greatest wealth building tool of all time. You can argue with me or not, but this is where the money is being controlled, and this is the greatest wealth building tool. One of the greatest wealth building tool. Number one is real estate. I have to give it to real estate. That's number one. But in terms of generating income, right, and with velocity, I believe is trading. Okay, but in terms of building long term wealth, okay, it's real estate. Okay, because yeah, do your research. And then we'll go over the money exercise and billion-dollar principles. I don't know if we'll get to the last two. All right, billion-dollar principles is not even completed right now. I don't even think I have it completed on here. I don't even think I have it completed on here. Nothing for me to do in the charts right now. Nothing for me to do right now. Came back into an inefficiency, right? But I would want to see price trade back below the external liquidity and then the market structure shift. This is not my setup personally, okay? Not my setup. Right now I'm waiting for 10 o'clock, and then we'll get open range, which would determines our session condition, right? That we talked about this morning. maybe in a 5 seconds it could have had something here, but let's see. Let's confirm or deny. All right, because that's what it's all about. Trust but verify. You know what I mean? Trust but verify. Yeah, yeah, probably a lower time frame. And I don't go lower than 50. 15 seconds is already just pushing it for me, to be honest. 5 seconds is that's a different story right there. Oh, I didn't even know any liquidity above and below dealing range. Excuse me, my fault. Me sorry, Rasta. Above dealing range, what we go? What we go above here? We got Thursday, June 4th of June. PM session buy side above price. Let's get that. As a draw on liquidity right now. Oh, sugar. Too much, mate. Too much, mate. And then above that, okay, we got, bear with me. This is Wednesday, 3rd of June, June 3rd. I believe is also PM session buy side above price. And then we have 20-day high above that, okay? So right now, current draw is this buy side. Depending on how price behaves around that. And also open range, all right? Well, let me know whether price wants to go further ahead. Right now, this is my draw on liquidity. IPTA moves for two reasons, right? To seek liquidity above and below price and to reprice into any inefficiencies above and below price. We'll talk more about IPTA tomorrow when we talk about trading edge Tuesdays, okay? We build confidence in your trading edge tomorrow, all right? That's what it's all about. That's where we all start, all right? You're supposed to start right here with money and mindset. But obviously, we come into this industry to make money, so we go straight into the money-making aspect of it, knowing nothing about money, okay? So that's why I'm very bent on getting people right when it comes to trading edge, right? When it comes to being in the markets, because this is where we all start. We don't start with the money and mindset because we don't want to know nothing about that, right? We want to start with trading edge. So it is my mission, right, to reduce that stats that we all know. 90% of traders fail. I think that is my purpose on this planet. That's what God put me here to do. It took me a while to finally get to believing that that's my purpose, but I believe that this is my purpose. I feel very much on purpose when I'm here and I'm talking and I'm in front of the charts and I'm just, you know when you're just on purpose, you just everything just clicks. You know what I'm saying? And I strongly believe that this is my purpose here on this planet. Below, okay, we got Asia, tongue twister, Asia session sell side. We got Asia session sell side below, and below that we got previous week's high, and that's weekly open and previous day's high. Misconceptions about money. Misconceptions and myths about money. Let's look up the definition of misconception real quick. Which pill did Neo take? I did ask that. It's a red pill, baby. We're taking a red pill today. Take that red pill with me. A misconception is an incorrect idea or belief that is formed due to a misunderstanding, faulty logic, or inaccurate information. Definition of misconception. Now let's look at myth. A myth is a traditional or legendary story that explains natural or social phenomena, often featuring supernatural beings, gods, or heroes. Yeah. Okay, in everyday language, the term is also frequently used to describe a widely held but ultimately false belief or misconception. Look at that. Oh, look at that. So these are beliefs that are deeply embedded in our society but aren't really true, right? They aren't really true. These are things that we believe to be true but aren't really true. That's why I say, ask yourself this question. Where's the question? Let's get to the question. Bear with me. What do you believe to be true about money that isn't true? Okay? What do you believe to be true about money that isn't true? The first misconception that we have is that money is evil. Money is evil. Bear with me. Bloody hell. Yo, 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 yo! Man, get it together, man. Don't do me like that, man. Don't do it. Nah, nah, nah. Money is evil. We've also heard the saying, money is the root of all evil, right? But that's the half truth. That's the half saying. Is the real saying is the love of money. The love of money is the root of all evil. Money itself is not evil, right? The belief that pursuing wealth is inherently wrong or greedy. This is a lie that's been perpetuated on our society for years and years and years. Okay, some people right now don't even want to make money. They don't even want to get the money, not even make it because we can't make it, right? They don't want to get to the money because they believe that money is evil, all right? But it's the love of money is the root of all evil. Okay, money is a tool to be used. All right, it's a tool, just like a hammer is a tool. Money is a tool. All right, we use it for our benefit. Okay, it's not evil. It's the love of money that's what's evil. Okay, another misconception and myth about money is that money is hard to get, and it takes money to make money. Whew. Money is hard. These are things that we believe to be true but aren't true. Okay, in reality, they're misconceptions. They're not true. They're false. Okay, so if any of these things are something that you previously believed in or thought to be true, all right, I'm breaking it to you right now. They're false beliefs. All right, they're not really true. But obviously, go and do your own research. All right, trust but verify. Trust but verify. Also, I don't think I disclaimed. All right, everything that I'm talking about here is for education and information purposes only. Okay, these are ideas and beliefs of mine. Okay, and things that I'm doing. All right, in my life. Okay, and I'm just sharing it. If you want, I'm just giving you the information, right? So you can go ask professionals that the money managers and all of that, and let them give you the information, right? You do your own research, but what I'm giving you right here is just for informational purposes and only, all right? Just because I'm acting on what I'm talking about don't mean that you need to go ahead and act on it, okay? This is for me. If you find any useful information in it, fair enough, adopt it for yourself, but obviously trust but verify, do your own research, okay? I think we're disclaimed, yeah? We're disclaimed, yeah? Everybody feels disclaimed, yeah? We good? Can we carry on? You're not gonna come later on and be like, Alice told me to do this. Them folks there at the Trader Capital, they said to do this. They said this about money, and I did it, and this is what happened. Everything you do here, take control, take accountability for your actions, okay? I'm not physically forcing you to do anything. I'm just providing. I'm just being a conduit, all right? Some people don't know this information. I'm being a conduit for the information, all right? What you do with that information is completely up to you and is your responsibility, okay? All right. Let's get session dealing range up in here. right? Open range complete. We got our open range. Let me We're looking to be a buyer today, okay? Because our condition has been established for the day as a buy program. Doesn't mean we can't sell, okay? We understand obviously be a retracement sell. And we'll be going against our daily condition. It's good to be aware, okay, if you have different trade management styles for your pro-trend trades and counter-trend trade, or different risk parameters for your pro-trend trade and counter-trend trade, it's good to be aware of what kind of trade you're getting into. Right now, everything is the same for me, so it's not really of an importance. Much of an importance, I should say. All right, money is hard to get, or it takes money to make money. Okay, these are misconceptions and myths about money. All right, this belief can discourage people from seeking financial success or investing in their future. I've heard this a lot of times coming up until I obviously realized that it was a misconception, it was a myth about money. It takes money to make money, right? Hey, if I had 100 million, I could flip it, I could do that, I could do this, I could do that. But it doesn't take money to make money, all right? Like I said, we physically, legally cannot make money. It's our job to get money, all right? And it doesn't take money to get money, right? It takes these four things to get money. It takes only these four things. Everybody on this call, everybody on this planet, God has endowed you with these four things, okay? And it takes courage, right? It takes persistence. It takes action. I always forget the last one. Ooh, what is it? God damn. Courage, action, persistence, creativity. Right? These are the four things, right, you need to get money, all right? You don't need money to get money, okay? Yes, it would make it easier, right, if you had money at your disposal. It will make the journey to wealth a lot more easier, right, if you had money. But you don't need money, all right, to get money, all right? You need those four things, and everybody, right, everybody that can hear my voice, everybody on this planet has those four things, and that's all it takes to get to that money, okay? Next misconception about money. I have to check my mic is on. You get me? You get me? Because that's a real fear out here. Money can't buy happiness. Money can't buy happiness. Yes, this statement is partial truth, all right? And financial security can lead to happiness by reducing stress and providing freedom, all right? Money really can't buy you happiness. However, money being the tool that it is, right? You can use it to buy you the things, give you the experiences, all right? Give you the network, right? That brings you happiness and brings you joy, okay? It's a tool to be used, right? Money itself cannot buy you happiness, but it can provide you with the things, right? With the experiences, with a group of people that will bring you joy, all right? And bring you happiness, all right? And lastly, money isn't everything. Money isn't everything. We often hear that money isn't everything, but what does that truly mean? What does it mean? This is a half truth, okay? While money isn't the only important thing, it is essential for securing basic needs and creating opportunities, okay? Money is a tool, like I've been saying, right? Money can be used as a tool to enhance life, provide for loved ones, and contribute to society, all right? To the world as a whole as we know it. Okay, the true value of money lies in what it enables you to do, all right? It lies in what it enables you to do, all right? Pursue passions, support family, and really make a difference in this world, right? While money isn't everything, it's a powerful enabler that can significantly impact our lives when managed wisely, okay? When managed wisely, okay? Throughout the world, right? Throughout the nation, throughout the countries, right? These misconceptions can prevent people from taking control of their lives, or their financial lives, and achieving their full potential. So belief of these things, right, actually limits you from your true potential in terms of when it comes to money, all right? Yeah, money isn't everything, but it's pivotal to a survival on this planet, right? Your ability to do well on this economical planet depends on your ability to get money, keep it, and get it to multiply, all right? It's essential. These are the misconceptions, all right, that are keeping majority, that was keeping me broke mentally, all right, that was keeping me broke mentally, right? For me, it was really, it takes money to make money. That was the one that I really like, was embedded in my head. I always thought that obviously if I had more money, then I would make more money. But it really, when I realized that it doesn't take money to make money, everything just shifts and my mindset just, the doors open, right? There was more opportunities, right? Because once you put that in your head, you limit yourself, right? You limit yourself from the potential that's out there, right? It doesn't take money to get money, right? It takes creativity, courage, persistence, and action, right, to get that money, all right? All you need is an idea, all right? You need a skill set, and you just go after it, really and truly, right? With zero money. With zero money. Which brings us to, what do you believe to be true about money that isn't true? Right? There's obviously more misconceptions and myths about money. A penny earned is a penny saved is a penny earned, whatever the hell this shit goes, you know? What is it? A penny saved is a penny earned. It's still a fucking penny. Let me know how many pennies you can save till you get to 1 million. Fucking hell, mate. You know, they're ridiculous. They're ridiculous. They're really ridiculous. Once you like dig deeper and really analyze the concept, the beliefs about money, right? Your beliefs about money, and you dig deeper into it, and you start to think, is this actually really true? Like, just do it for yourself, right? Do it for, when I did it, it just it was a mind blower. All right, what do you believe to be true about money that isn't true, right? Right now, what's your current beliefs about money? What do you believe money is? Do you believe money is evil? All right, do you believe money is hard to get? Do you believe it takes money to make money? All right, do you believe that money can't buy you happiness? All right, do you believe that money isn't everything? What do you believe to be true about money? And have you done the research? All right, do the research to see if it's actually truth or if it's a misconception or a myth about money, right? Has somebody out there proven what you believe to be money to be true or not true? Because if one person has done it, that means it's a myth and it's a misconception. Okay, and we all know wealthy people on this planet. We all know them. And if one person has done it, we can all do it. All right. They've obviously overcome all the myths and misconceptions about money and did what they need to do. So what did they do, right? And that's what we're here talking about today. What do the 1% do? All right. What do they do? All right. This is the harsh reality of poverty. All right. For those too little or no money, right? Life can be a continuous struggle, right? I'm preaching to the choir here. Preaching to the choir. God damn, we know how life can get when you have little to no money. Okay? All right, you have limited access, right? Your health gets impacted, obviously, because you don't have health insurance, you can't pay for your health, all right? Without health, you have nothing. Wealth without health is no wealth at all, all right? Health is the most important thing when it comes to wealth, all right? Social exclusion, you don't get to do much of the things that other people do, right, with money, because you have no money, so you can't be in the rooms that you need to be in, right? And it just perpetuates a cycle of poverty, right? You're just stuck, right? You can't get out of it. You're poor and you just can't get out. If you look around you, right, the people, the countries, the nations, all right, around us with little to no money, they're the ones that are suffering the most, okay? And that's just because they have little to no money, right? You can't say money isn't everything. It isn't everything. And then when you look around you, people with no money are being impacted the most, right? So it just doesn't make sense, you know? And if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make dollars. It doesn't make pounds, okay? You don't do it. You don't. I'm trying to cater to all my audience or my two, I guess. It doesn't make cities either, all right? If you're Ghanaian up in here, all right? It doesn't make cities. All right. 9:50 macro is done. It gave us nothing. Okay, so our next 9:30 open range didn't give us anything. Post 10 o'clock we haven't got anything yet. Okay, so our next opportune time to anticipate a setup here would be at 10:30. Okay, waiting for it's time and price, baby. We trade a time and price. If you don't have time, you don't have anything. The algorithm, IPTA, we'll talk more about this tomorrow when we talk about trading edge. She, he, it runs on time. The algorithm that delivers price from the central bank level. We're gonna get into that. The who behind money. From the central bank level, right? Runs on time. All right. Time is the most important thing here when we're trading. Okay. That's why specific times I'm looking for specific characteristics in price. Okay. Time and then price. Right. To let me know, hey, this is potentially where we're headed. All right, or this potentially the next move in the market. Okay, so the next time for us will be at 10:30. Okay, 10:30 after first hour of trading is behind us. The only two things you need to know about money, all right? Scrap everything that you've been told, all right? All the misconceptions and all the lies and myths about money that you've been told, scrap it all right? These are the only two things that you need to know about money. All right. First, you need to know the who behind money, and you need to know the three hows, how to get it, because we don't make it. All right. We don't make it. It's illegal for us to make it. The who behind money, they make money. Once they've made it, it's our job to learn how to get it, keep it, and get it to multiply. Okay. These are the only two things you need to know about money: the who behind it and the three hows, how to get, keep, and multiply money. All right. That's what we'll be digging more into today. All right. When I learned these two things, all right, we complicate money for ourselves really as human beings. We love to complicate the subject of money. We also love to not talk about money. And that's one thing I've grown to not appreciate, people that don't like to talk about money. It's like, even at work, it's a taboo to talk about how much you're getting paid at work. The people that don't talk about money are the people that don't have money, okay? All right? Or have no idea what they're doing with their money, okay? We need to talk more as a community, as a group of people, as human beings. We need to talk more about money because it's vital to our survival here on this economical planet that we live on, right? It's vital, but we don't like to talk about it, okay? And as some, obviously for some of us, it can be an embarrassing topic to talk about because obviously we don't, not all of us make the same amount of money, right? And for some people, they can see that as embarrassing. But if we don't talk about it, we're not gonna be about it. You feel me? So I wanna like demystify this talking about money taboo that we got going on here on this planet that we got going on, that on this economical planet we live on. All right. Let's get over the hump, okay? It's okay if you don't have money, all right? But let's talk about how you're going to get that money, how you're going to keep it, how you're going to multiply it, all right? There's, especially in this day and age, there's a million ways to make money nowadays easily. You can be freaking, people get paid to play video games and record themselves like this, play video games, and they're making money from it. So you can't tell me that, money's hard to get. It's not hard to get, especially with technology nowadays. It's easy. Anyway, what you think, right, is how you behave, and that's your perspective in life, right? Your thinking about money is vital, is important, right? You think money is abundant, then money will be abundant. If you think money is hard to get, money will be hard to get, right? If you think money can't buy you happiness, then you won't be able to use the tool that it's supposed to be to buy you the things that brings you joy and happiness, all right? As a man thinketh, all right, so he is, and so he does, right? That's how you live life. That's your perspective. Up here. It all starts from up here, and then it comes out through the words that you say, okay? Through the words that you say. So if you want abundance in your life, speak abundance in your life, right? If you want prosperity in your life, think prosperity and speak prosperity into your life, all right? Get rid of all negative thinking, all negative thoughts, all negative words that come out your day, right? And just reinforce positivity, speak positivity into your life, okay? And that's what your life will be, right? Starts up here. Starts up here though. About how you think about the world, how you think about money, how you think about everything. Yeah? Anyway, only two things we need to know about money, all right? The who behind money, the three hows, how to get it, keep it, and get it to multiply. Let's get into the who. Wrong button, wrong ting, my jiggy, my bob. Nothing in the charts here. All right, like I said, we're waiting for 10 o'clock. We are waiting. We are farmers. Yo, that shit is stuck in my head. You just need something a little catchy, that will stay with the consumer's head. That's what you need. The who behind money. Who's the who behind money? Who knows the who behind money? This ain't the first time we're talking about it. Who's the who behind money? Who? If you don't know it, do your research, right? Do your research. Find out who's behind money. Who is it? Who makes money? Who legally can make money? Who can make the money? Who makes the money? How are they making it? How are they controlling it? Who? The who behind money. If you don't know these things, it'll be hard for you to succeed in the financial markets, okay? Because the who behind money is directly linked to these candlesticks, okay? And once I made that correlation, these candlesticks start to make more sense. Once you understand the who behind money, these candlesticks here that we're staring at today, that we're always staring at, I'm always in front of, these candlesticks start to make more sense. You start to understand the real story behind why they're doing the things that they do, okay? And it all comes from understanding the who behind money, okay? And we've talked about this, is not nothing new, all right? Money is created and controlled by central banks, all right? Central banks, right? Every country, every nation has its own central bank, all right? Every country, every nation has their own central bank, and they're the ones that they make the money and they control the money, okay? They make and control the money. It's their commodity, it's their asset, okay? So for the US, it will be the US Federal Reserve, okay? That's our central bank here, okay? For Europe, all right, is the European Central Banks. And for England is a Bank of England, okay? That's the central bank for England, right? Bank of England. So every country, every nation has a central bank. Let that sink in. Every country, every nation has a central bank, all right? And money is created and controlled by central banks, right? Central banks have the authority to print physical currency and create digital money through the banking system. I try to go back and do research on how central bank, the Federal Reserve, was created, which there's information out there. But after that, good luck finding any more information on that. Like, good luck. They divert all the information after when it was created and how it was formed, right? There's no more information. They go ghost. They go ghost mode, okay? Obviously, I need to get back into my research on that, actually, to see if there's more I can dig and find out in terms of that. Even like with documentaries where it talks about the men who built America, it started off it mentioned the central banks, but then it shifted from them, right? They try to not bring any attention to themselves, all right, so people know what's really truly going on. They try to put the attention on somebody else, right? On something else, on these men, all right, in in America. And then we focus on that storyline rather than the people behind the scenes, just like we talked about the market efficiency paradigm, right? We'll go more into that, but more into that tomorrow during Trading Edge, all right? There's a lot to uncover here. There's a lot of information, Okay, you need to continuously be hearing this information over and over and over again, right? And you will hear different things at different season, right? When you need to hear them, you will hear it. Okay, so money is their commodity, is their asset. They set the price of it and they control it. All right, they set the price of it, meaning they control it. Just like if you own the restaurant, if you own the shoe store, who sets the price of the meals? Who sets the price of the shoes? The owner of that restaurant, the owner of that shoe store, right? Just like central banks, they set the price of it because they own the concept, they own the thing that we know to be called money. Okay, it's their asset, it's their commodity. Okay, they control it. All right. It's all about control, right? It's all about control. When a black swan event hit, and I think we need a separate to talk about like the risk in terms of trading, because I haven't really touched on the three big risks, and that's important. When a black swan event hits, when black swan event hits, all right, black swan events are events that are they're random, all right. You cannot prepare for them, and they change the landscape of the world, the economy for they change it for a minute, right? They change it for for the worse, right? Anyway, for some people they thrive. For the 1%, they thrive during a black swan event. Okay, black swan events can be events such as 9/11, the Great Depression, okay, stuff like that. That's like a black swan. COVID 2019, whatever that was, that's a black swan event, right? They change the landscape of the world, and everything is made different after those things. Okay, they're something that you cannot prepare for. Okay, when these things hit, as those with little to no control, right? In terms of their finances, in terms of their life, those with little to no control, they're the ones that suffer the most. And the ones with the control, all right, they thrive. All right, they thrive. So it's all about control, right? That's what I'm trying to provide to you, the opportunity, the ability to be able to take control of your finances, right? Which is vital to your survival on this economical planet, right? Is important, is necessary, you know? Anywho, let me stop and carry on. So we know the who behind money, right? We know the who behind money are central banks, right? How are they controlling the money? How are they controlling the money? How do central banks control the money? Okay, how are they controlling it? And this is why this is the greatest wealth building tool of all time, right? This is where the money game is played, all right? The central banks, right, they control the money supply through the open market, right, where they buy and sell government bonds, okay? When central banks purchase bonds, right, when they buy government bonds, they inject money into the economy, all right, increasing the money supply, all right? Conversely, when they sell government bonds, right, they pull money out of circulation, tightening the money supply, okay? This is how they're controlling the money, okay? They're making the money, they're creating it, it's their asset, it's their commodity, and they control it in the open market, buying and selling government bonds, okay? Additionally, central banks, right, influence the economy by setting interest rates, which affect borrowing cost and spending behaviors. Now, let's see if I remember this. When they, hold on, when they increase interest rates, all right, it makes borrowing more expensive. And when they decrease interest rates, it makes it cheaper to borrow more money. Am I right? Am I right? Or am I right? Am I right? So I said that when they increase it, they make it more expensive. All right. When they decrease it, it makes it cheaper. Let me confirm, because that's one thing that always like messes with me. You know what? Let me type it differently. What does increase in? Is that what I said? When they increase it, it makes it more expensive when they decrease it. It's cheaper. Okay, yeah, I was right. I was right. Yeah, big up, big up. All right. That always like trips me up. That always trips me up. So I always want to confirm that I'm saying the right things. Okay, so they're in here buying and selling government bonds, right? And the little unknown secrets, a little unknown secret that's not widely known, just like central banks. We know they exist, right? But we don't really know much about them and what they do. Well, we know what they do, but we don't really know much about them, right? A little unknown secret is that central banks, right? They own hedge funds, right? What we're behind the scenes of, all right? Creating I'm the Trader Capital, all right? They own hedge funds, which they use to manage financial risk and stabilize markets. Let that sink in, because once you understand that, then you know who the battle really here in these candlesticks, right? You know who the battle is between, right? The battle is between the central banks, right, and their hedge funds versus hedge funds, what we know to be hedge funds, right? What we know to be hedge funds, big conglomerate, big investment houses, all right, that obviously trade and invest in the financial markets. That's who the battle is against. It's not about us. We're just little fishes in the pond here. The battle ain't really about us. It's about central banks versus big investment houses, big hedge funds, big investors, okay, big corporations, everything big, 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 big. All right, the people that we see as are big, right? These are the people that IPTA is targeting against. Okay, it's targeting against. All right, so let that sink in. All right, central banks own hedge funds which they use to manage financial risk and stabilize markets. Okay, this is their game, their asset, their commodity. They control it. They're also in here, all right? They know everything that's going on behind the scenes. They're also in here capitalizing on what they already on their game, right? It's like a casino, right? They have an edge, right? And their edge is that they own the casino, they own the market. It's their asset, it's their commodity, they control it. Okay, that's their edge. And that's why we have to have our house edge, okay? And I'm the house edge trader. Oh, phew, just went over a lot of people's heads. Let me stop. I have too much fun every time I talk about this. I have too much fun every time I talk about this. Oh, mate, let me stop. Just, whew. I know that went over a lot of people's heads. It's okay. Like I said, you need to continuously be hearing this information, and you will hear what you need to hear at different seasons of your trading of your career here, where you're at. Okay, you'll hear different things when you need to hear it. It will start to click. It will all start to make sense. But you have to constantly be feeding yourself that same information. That's why I'm constantly going over and over and over and over these things, right? Because these are things that even though I know it, sometimes I forget it, right? And I have to constantly be going over it myself and to realize, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing this for. Oh, okay, this is what's happening. All right, get back on track, right? This is what we're doing this for, right? As much as it is to help and divulge the information out there, all right, it's also to help me as well, all right? So once you know the who behind money, all right, then we come to the three hows. No. We come to the three hows. How to get, keep, and multiply money, which will take us to the wealth creation equation and formula. All right. We all know of somebody that's created wealth on this planet. All right. We all know them. We know majority of them. Okay. We know some of them. We don't know them personally, but we know of them. All right. And if somebody has done it, multiple people have done it, that means there's an equation, right? And there's a formula. They have the formula for that equation, right? And that's what we're going to get into, right? Back in school, right? Back in secondary school and actually in college in London and university in US, I guess. So complicated, this life. Anyway, back in college, back in school, my favorite subject was always math, right? It was always math. And the reason for that is that all the equations, all the hard equations and questions had formulas. Okay, meaning if you understood the formula, right, you input the correct data into that formula. This was key, inputting the correct data into the formula, right? 10 o'clock, 10:30. All right, first hour of trading is behind us. We have time. All right, we're still waiting on price. If you understood the formula, you knew the formula, and you input the correct data into the formula, it didn't matter the question, all right? It didn't matter the numbers in the question, however the question was formed or worded or whatever. If you did those two things right, right, understood and knew the formula, all right, input the correct data into the formula, you were always going to arrive at the correct answer. And that's why math was always one of my favorite subjects in school, okay? And that's the same with wealth creation, okay? There's an equation, all right, and there's a formula, all right? So if you know the formula, you understand the formula, and you input the correct data into that formula, all right, you're gonna get to your destination, which is creating wealth, okay? 10:30. I didn't even set no alerts on this one today. No alerts was set today. I completely forgot. It's the first, well, not the first one, but for us anyway, New York session. First New York session of the week, so we're not eager, all right, to jump into the market, all right. Nor is the market even presenting anything for us to get into, okay, and that's okay, all right. Let the market get its bearing for our first trading, session here, and let it get its footing. Looked at last week Monday too. We didn't really see anything, or there was no news anyway. We didn't really see anything until like post 10:30. Uno momento, por favor. Need to wet my whistle. Mm-hmm. Oh, mate, I got that from Michael. No, this is my tool. Like a football referee has a whistle. My whistle here in the charts is my mouth. um, it's Money and Mindset Monday. We get your money right. Get your mind on your money as you step into this week. All right, have your mind on your money. If you spend the weekend blowing and getting rid of your net income, that's okay. All right, you didn't know any better. After today, you're gonna know better, right? So you won't do the same thing over and over again, right? Because doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, what's that the definition of? We all know what that definition is. We know it. We know it. Anywho, how do you keep, and multiply money? All right, all right. First, you have to understand you only need two vehicles to build wealth. All right, there's only two vehicles you need to build wealth. All right. First vehicle is earned income. Okay, this is earned income. We all start at the same place on our path to build wealth. One second. Earned income is money earned through work or service provided, all right, like a job or business, okay. This sources of this is like salary, wages, freelance work, and other active income streams. The role of this is that is the foundation for initial wealth creation. Okay, is the foundation. This determines the resources you have to invest and build further. Okay, so earned income is important, is imperative, is the first vehicle that you need. All right, on your path to creating wealth. Okay, here you're actively working for money. Okay, you're doing the action that leads to the money coming in. Okay, and this income, earned income, is heavily taxed. Okay, at 40 to 50%. Okay, that's why we get to the second how to keep it. How do you keep more of your money? Meaning reduce your tax and expenses. All right, so you have more money left over for investments. Okay, so earned income, although it's heavily taxed, right, is the first initial vehicle that we need. All right, in order to successfully create and build wealth. All right. Next vehicle, all right, is passive income. Passive income. Now, not a lot of people know about passive income, okay, and there's a reason why. All right, a lot of us know about earned income, working to get the money, earning that income, but that's where it stops, right? For majority of us, that's where it stops, just earned income, right? Some people are they're just gonna work till they die. They're gonna work till they die because they don't know that second vehicle that they need to build wealth, right? Which is passive income. This is our goal here. This is the number one thing that we're striving for each and every day. Okay. If I don't have anything, right? If I don't have anything, I at least want passive income, and that's it. That's it. That's it. And that's all. One thing in this world, right, that I want is passive income. That's it, and that's all. That's what I'm striving for. All right. That's what I'm trying to get to. Okay. I'm not thinking any luxury shit right now. I'm not even a luxury person. I don't know these brands. I don't give a damn. My main focus is get into that passive income, right? Get into that passive income, the second vehicle to build wealth, right? Passive income. Okay. Now this is income derived from rental properties and limited partnerships. Okay. Um, Money is earned with minimal active involvement. You're not physically involved in the money getting. All right. You're not involved in it. Okay. Sources include investments, rental income, royalties, and dividends. Okay. The role of this is the ultimate goal. All right. Provides financial freedom by generating income without direct daily effort. Okay. So you're not really having to do anything to get the money. Okay. At this point, your money is making money for you. Okay. So rental properties is pretty much self-explanatory. All right. Limited partnerships. Okay. This is where it kind of most people don't know what a limited partnership is, which is okay. All right. I starting out didn't know what a limited partnership is, right? But a limited partnership is when you invest in, let's say, a hedge fund. Okay, let's say you invest in I'm the Trader Capital. All right, you invest with me, you become a limited partner. All right, in I'm the Trader Capital. Okay, you're not physically obviously trading. I'm going to use that money, I'm going to trade it, and when that money makes money, we split the profits, right, to limited partnership, to limited partners and the GP. Okay, so that's what a limited partnership is. So let's say you invest into a restaurant, right? You know, a cousin, you know, they're a really good chef, all right, and they're thinking about starting a business, but they don't have the funds, and you have the funds, and you invest that money into that restaurant. All right, you're not obviously physically cooking or in the restaurant doing anything, but when that restaurant makes money, okay, obviously you guys will figure out a distribution structure and all of that. When that restaurant is making money, all right, you'll get distributed a portion of that money, and then that will be like a limited partnership. Okay, so when you invest into funds, all right, there's different types of funds. All right, there's hedge funds, there's venture capital, there's real estate funds. Okay, there's debt funds, there's different kind of funds, right? But when you make investment into funds, all right, you become a limited partner. Okay, or into businesses. Okay, because venture capital is also like investing in businesses. They buy businesses, right? Private businesses, right? Hedge funds deal with public securities, like, you know, for the financial markets. So when you invest in a fund, right, you invest in a business, all right, you become a limited partner, all right, meaning your partnership is limited. Really and truly, you're not involved in the money making activity, right? You're just you're putting your money to work for you. Okay, I don't know if that makes sense. And then obviously we have rental properties. Here you're not actively, all right, engaged in the getting to the money. All right, your money is being put to work for you. Okay, and making that and getting that money for you. Okay, get your money to work for you. This passive income, which is the goal, right, is taxed little to $0. Okay, little to $0. We're like talking 0 to 20%, which is double earned income. So what you earn in the passive income is double what you earned in earned income, because earned income you're getting taxed at that twice that rate, right? Does that make sense? Right? So it's taxed a little to like 20%, okay? 25 I think would be the max. The max is right, but 0 to 20%, right? These are the two vehicles that we need to build wealth, right? These are the only two vehicles we need to be focusing on, okay? Earning income. If you're trading in the markets, all right, you're on step one, right? Earned income. Vehicle number one. You're trading your time in front of these charts and these candlesticks, all right, and you're earning income, right? Once you're being able to take money out of the financial markets, all right, it's your job then to move to vehicle number two, to create passive income, which then you start using that money. Obviously, first you want to invest in yourself, invest in your business, invest in income producing assets that will obviously buy you passive income, essentially buy you freedom, okay? But these are the only two vehicles that we need to focus on. Don't complicate it. Money is not complicated, it's simple, all right? That's another myth and misconception, right? Money is complicated. We complicate it for ourselves. It's really simple, right? We need to know the who behind money and the three hows, and we have two vehicles to build wealth. And then we have the four steps, right? Simple things right here, okay? Don't need to complicate it. Road to wealth creation. The first step, right? Like I said, everybody on their path to wealth starts on the same place. We all start in the same place. Obviously, yes, some of us have more in terms of capital under our foot, but we all start in the same place, okay? The first step in building wealth is to create a source of income, okay? Because without income, without money, all right, there is no capital to invest and build upon, okay? So for my little brother, right, first step he needs to do is to create income. Right now he doesn't have a job, right? He doesn't have a job, but what he's doing to create income for himself right now is he's reselling things, his old clothes and stuff. He's buying and reselling things, right? We're all buying and selling, we're all trading, right? It's just about what we're trading, right? Some of us, we trade our time for money. Some of us, we trade our old stuff for new stuff, buy new stuff and trade it for something else, right? We're all trading essentially. We're all traders, right? I'm just more electronic in my trading, all right, in digital, in these candlesticks, really and truly. But anyway, for him right now, his source of income, right, is coming from money that he gets from his mom when she gives it to him, right? If he asks and she gives it, that lady, she will give it, but she won't. Let me stop. and his current income right now is from him buying and reselling his clothes and his old clothes and stuff, and he's trying to obviously create more income, right? This is why I'm introducing this game to him, all right, so he can create income, all right, for himself, because that's the first step, okay? And he's doing it at a young, he's starting at a young age, which is top tier. Love that. I wish I started at 14, to be honest. I would be so much further ahead. I'll be a billionaire already if I started at 14. Come off it, bro. What are you saying? Anyway, first step to building any real wealth, right, is to create a source of income, right? Because without that, you have nothing to build upon, okay? And then we'll take us to the wealth equation. This is the wealth equation, and then we'll get into the formula, and then we'll talk about inputting the correct data into that formula, into the equation, right? That leaves you with more net income for investments, okay? More net income for investments, okay? So when it comes to the wealth equation, there's two equations, okay? We have an equation for gross income, and we have an equation for net income, okay? Net income is the goal. We want to have more net income, all right, than gross income. Okay, obviously the more your gross income is, all right, and the more you are able to reduce your taxes and expenses, the more net income you're able to have. But let's get into these two equations. Right, so like I said, we all trade, right? We're all traders, all right? We're all traders. Some of us, majority of us here, we trade our time, all right? And we go to work, right? To make money, to get money. Yeah, it's easy to say make money, right? Because that's what we used to say, but we can't obviously make the money. We can only get the money. Anyway, we trade our time to get money, all right? This money is our gross income, right? It's earned income, okay? Here we're still talking about earned income, right? Gross income is the total earnings before any deductions, okay? Some of us don't even know how much money is being taken out of our pay when we get paid, and it's something you need to start paying attention to. Okay, if you're on your path to creating wealth, these are things that you need to be paying close attention to. Okay, so the total earnings before any deductions, this is the money you have to work with initially, right? On our path to building wealth, this is what we have to work with, okay? So for my little brother, all he has to work with is the income that he's making from buying and reselling his old stuff, right? Buying and reselling his old stuff. This is calculated through your total earnings based on the amount of time you invest and the effort you put in, okay? So if you have a 9 to 5, and this is based on the amount of time, right, that you work, and the pay grade that position, right, the company values that position that you're working with, right? So that will be your gross income, and from your gross income, right, you deduct your taxes, which is your highest expense, right? 40 to 50% of your gross income goes straight to taxes, right? Your highest expense, okay? That's why the next step is, how do we keep more of our money, right? How do we reduce our taxes and expenses, right? In this formula here, okay? So we can have more net income left over, okay? So gross income minus taxes and expenses equals net income, right? This is your still earned income, right? This is what you have left over after you deducted your tax and expenses, all right? Expenses such as like your rent, your mortgage, your phone bill, your car bill, your health insurance, you know, all of that stuff, your entertainment, your expense, everything that goes to live in your life, okay? What you have left over is your net income. This is what you have left over for investments, okay? Taxes and expenses, deductions from your gross income, including government taxes and personal living expenses. You're left with net income, the amount left after taxes and expenses, which is available for investments. Okay, this is what you have left over for investments. So our goal here in the equation, right, is to have as much net income, right, left over as possible. Okay, so to have as check the mic. Have as, even though I haven't touched it, it's still like a fear. It's crazy. Is to have as much net income left over as possible, okay, as possible, because that's what we have left over for investments. And we all invest, okay, we all make investments, whether it's our money, it's our time, it's our effort, it's our energy. We're all making investments, all right? Now it's about what we're investing in, okay, what we're investing in, okay? Oh, what we're investing in, the formula, the wealth formula, the wealth formula, the wealth formula. Still nothing for us to do here in this charts, right? It ain't giving us nothing. It ain't giving us nothing. It is what it is. It is what it is. Oh, snap, crackle, and pop. Excuse me. All right, so this is where the path diverts. Okay, remember I said we on our path to building wealth and creating wealth. We all start on the same path. We're all on the same journey. Obviously, some of us are obviously coming in with a bit more capital, right? Some of us are coming in with a lot of capital. Some of us are coming with zero to no capital, okay? Either way, we're all starting at the same spot, the same beginning of the same journey, okay? But here is where the journey diverts. Here is where we go, majority of the people go one way, and the 1% go the other way, okay? This is where it diverts. Here's the formula, all right? This is what you don't want to do, right? Here you're inputting the wrong information into the formula, all right? Here is the wrong data to input into the formula, right? You're not working out the formula right. You're not going to get to the destination that you think you're going to, okay? You're not going to get the answer right on this side, okay? The 99% approach, okay? So with that net income, right, after you take away your taxes and expenses, right, with that, what's left over is the net income. With that net income, right, here is what the 99% invest that net income into. Like I said, we all make investment. Now it's about what we're investing in, okay? For the 99%, okay, the majority use their net income, all right, primarily for lifestyle and entertainment. We just came off a weekend, right? If you were outside, right, you saw a bunch of 99% of people, right, outside buying drinks, doing all this, you know, trying to live life, enjoy themselves. You see people buying luxurious cars and, you know, buying watches and going out and just enjoying the lifestyle, entertaining themselves. This is where the 99% and while they don't have any passive income. If you have passive income and you're doing these things, nobody ain't got nothing to say. All right, if you have passive income, right, that you're using to enjoy your lifestyle and pay for your entertainment, nobody can say nothing to you. Okay, all right, but majority of the 99% people here, they have no passive income, and then their net income, they're using it for lifestyle and entertainment, right? The consequence of this is that this often leads to additional expenses and the need to continuously trade time for money. Okay, that's where they get stuck in that wheel, the rat wheel, where they're going to make money and then they're spending that money to accrue more expenses. All right, spending on lifestyle, they just throw that money away to go back on Monday, today, right, back to the 9 to 5, carry on working and hate Monday, right, hate their job, hate working, but when the weekend comes, they're outside blowing their money again. It just, come on, man. It perpetuates a cycle of poverty, right? Without investments, they remain in a cycle of working to maintain their lifestyle, right? Without substantial growth in their in their wealth, okay? They're just doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different results. 1050 macro. Let's see if he's gonna give us something right here. We have time, but we don't have price. All right, we have time, but we don't have price. So nothing for us to do. All right, the hardest thing for new traders, inexperienced traders to do is sit still and do nothing. Right, watching these candles print and thinking, oh, that's a move I could have been in. But if your model or your analyst isn't telling you that, hey, this is something that we need to be in, there's nothing for us to do, and there's nothing for us to do. All right. And then we come to the 1% approach. This is where we're going, right? This is where we're going. If you're hearing me, this is where we're going, right? If you're here right now with me, if you're hearing me after the fact, before the fact, during the fact, this is where we're going, all right? This is where our mindset is at. This is our approach. This is what we need to be more focused on, okay? All right? The 1% approach, right? This is what they're doing with their net income, all right? If you don't know what your net income is, do the math, calculate it. You know, how much are you getting paid? How much is coming out in taxes? What's your monthly ends, okay, like your expense, your bills that you need to pay for the month, and then what's left over, okay? This is your net income, and this is how we're going to invest that net income left over, okay? This is what we're doing here. I'm the Trader Capital Analyst. This is all we do here, okay? All right, we earn the income, and this is what we do with it, all right? First, we allocate our net income towards investments. Don't think that the 99% approach aren't investing. They're investing in a lifestyle and entertainment, right? But for us here, first, initially, this is the sequence in which we're going to invest, okay? First, we're going to invest in ourselves, all right? We're going to gain the skills and knowledge that we need to do to enhance ourselves and our skill set, okay? Whether it's buying a course or, you know, going to paying for networking events and just investing in you, right? Building you up, building your skill, because this is the one investment that will never fail you, okay? The one investment and only investment that will never fail you is the investment that you make in yourself, okay, and enhancing your skill set, your knowledge, and your abilities, okay? That's the one investment that will never fail you. Nobody can take that from you, okay? All right, unless you lose your mental faculties. That's the only way you lose it, right? But other than that, nobody is taking that from you, right? It's a skill set that you've gained and that you've learned, all right? That's in here, right? Nobody can take it from you. So once you invest in yourself, right, and you start to increase your income, your earned income, right? You start to increase your earned income. Then you want to invest in your business. You as the business, okay? You are a business, all right? Whether you believe or not, you are a business. Then you want to invest in your business, right? You want to start an entity as you, the business, invest in that business, all right? And then once that business is making money, its net income is getting fat, okay? Right? Obviously, you're gonna reinvest in the business until that net income is fat enough to then divert that the rest of that into investing into income producing asset class, okay? Income producing assets. Income producing assets is it vital that you invest in income producing. After you invest in yourself and you invest in your business, okay, you invest in income producing assets, okay? That's assets that already produced, that are already making income. But once you invest in that income, let's say in 90 days, all right, you're getting money, you're making money from that investments, okay? All right, income producing assets, okay? And for me personally, all right, that's in real estate, okay, particularly, all right, multifamily real estate, all right, and in limited partnerships, okay? So investing in funds, all right? Obviously you have to know the fund, do your research on the fund, see the distribution of the fund, see the outcome of the fund, how they're doing, and then obviously if it's something that resonates with you, something they're interested in, you invest in the fund, right? Okay, obviously there's still risk in that as well. Okay, you have to be aware of how the fund is being managed and what the fund is actually investing in. Okay, and if there's risk return and control, yeah, risk return control of the fund. Okay, so creating passive income. Okay, investments lead to passive income streams that generate money with minimal active effort. Okay, this leads to passive income, buys time, leading to financial freedom, the ultimate goal of wealth creation. Okay, so when you buy income producing assets, when you invest in income producing assets, all right, you're buying passive income essentially, right? You're getting passive income, which is the ultimate goal of wealth. Okay, which is the leads to you buying back time. All right, so now you have more time to do the things that you want to do because you're making money without having to lift a finger, right? You got your money working for you. Okay, you worked hard to earn the income and then you put that money to work for you. That's what we're doing here. Okay, we work hard in here, we learn the skill set here, we master the skill set here, we get that money, and then we're putting that money to work, right? Once we get to that point, right? Once we get to that point, because I'm still working to that point, and this is how I remind myself when I get to that point, this is what I'm doing with the money, right? This is my approach, is what I'm doing. When we get to that point, right, where we're consistent and we're profitable and we're taking money out of these markets, our goal is first to invest in ourselves, gain the knowledge, gain the skills. For me, I want to be a fund manager. So for me, I'm going to invest in myself to be able to be the best fund manager I can be, right? I'm going to allocate money to myself, learning more about funds, how to manage a fund, what I need to do, and all of that to invest in myself, right? Then I'm going to invest in the fund itself, right? And once that fund is making money and I have surplus money, I'm going to invest in income producing assets. And I'm also going to invest in other funds, right? Other funds that I believe in, that I know what they're doing, and I've seen the returns in those funds, right? That will buy me more passive income, because my goal here is passive income, right? I want more passive income than earned income, right? But initially you want to use that earned income to buy you passive income, so that when you're not able to earn income, all right, you're already earning income. Does that make sense? Does it make sense? Because if it doesn't make sense, it don't make dollars, all right? And we're not here for it, okay? But yeah, that's the 1% approach. That's where we're going. That's what we're doing here. That's our main focus here, okay? Each and every day that you're in front of these charts, you may not be profitable yet. I haven't got to the point where I'm consistently profitable, but I'm consistent in following in exercising discipline and following my precision protocols, and I'm obviously seeing the outcome of it, but I'm not at the point where I'm consistently profitable, okay? So when I get there, right, when I'm consistently pulling money out of this ocean of money, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing, okay? First, I'm going to invest in myself, then I'm going to invest in my business, then I'm going to invest in income producing assets that buys me passive income, all right? So that means I'm not needing to trade, right? Trading becomes so much easier when you don't need to trade, right? When there's money coming in, when you don't need the next trade to win, you don't need the next couple of trades to be a winner for you, right? Because money's already coming in from different streams, different avenues, all right? Then you can actually limit the amount of times you trade, right? You can take one winning trade, one losing trade, and still be okay because money's coming in. That's my goal. That's what I'm trying to get to, okay? I be pressing the wrong thing. I be pressing the wrong thing. I be pressing the wrong thing. Still nothing for us to do here. Still nothing for us to do here. Be shutting off at 11:10. All right. If you haven't got nothing by 11:10, we'll be done. If you haven't got anything by 11:10, close to session, open range session buy side here. So let's see if price gives us anything. Need to wet this whistle. And blow my whistle, baby, let me know. Let me start drinking this again, man, because I've been slacking on my water drinking. I ain't gonna lie. I've been slacking on my water drinking. I've been drinking as much water as I need to be. Money and Mindset Monday. Mondays and Fridays are like my happy days because we talk about money. So good. So good. So goddamn good. So good. Anyway, 4 steps to create wealth. Okay, these are the 4 steps to create wealth. So first, right, when it comes to money and mindset, right, we need to understand the misconceptions and myths out there in terms of when it comes to money, so we know what our beliefs about money is and are they really true, right? Then we need to know the only 2 things we need to know about money, right? The who behind money and the 3 hows. How do you get it, keep it, and get it to multiply, right? Then that brings us, right? Once we understand the who and the 3 hows, takes us to the 2 vehicles that we need to build wealth: earned income and passive income. Okay, we come into the equation. We come into the formula. All right, what the 1% do and what the 99% do. Okay, now takes us to the steps to create wealth. Okay, everything together that we just talked about, right? Steps to create wealth. First step, all right, is create income. That is the first step. That is where everybody starts, right? Because without that income, there is no initial capital to invest upon. There's nothing to build upon. Okay, earned income. All right, first vehicle, right? Earned income. We need to create income. We need to earn that income, and there's multiple ways that you can do that, right? If you currently have a 9 to 5, right, you're earning income. If you don't have a 9 to 5, look for a 9 to 5. Look for a job. If you have a service that you can provide for people, right, provide that service. If you're like my little brother, start selling, start buying, start selling things that you already own, right? Buying and reselling things that you own already. Okay, generate income, create income. Okay, because without that income, there's nothing to build upon. Okay, step 2, once you're creating income, right, the next step is to increase that income. Increase that income. Okay, and then if you're at a 9 to 5, look for ways that you can increase your income at your 9 to 5, whether by providing another service or doing something else. But just look for ways in your 9 to 5 that you can increase your income. And if you've capped out at your 9 to 5 at your job, okay, then look outside your 9 to 5, right? Look for ways that you can add more income, right? On the weekends, can you do Uber? Can you do all of these things outside of your income, outside of your 9 to 5, that will generate you more income? Okay, can you buy and resell things like my brother's doing? We're taking open range session buy side. Okay, our session buys has been confirmed as a buy program in line with the weekly. I mean, in line with the daily. Sorry, because we haven't established a weekly yet. Depending on how price comes and takes, market structure shift here will be a V shape. Can you blow my whistle, baby? Whistle, baby. Do you have a skill set that you can provide for others, right? Find ways to increase your income, okay? And then the next step, the most important, not the most important, step 1 is the most important, but this is step 3: keep income, keeping more of your money. How do you do that, right? In terms of the equation, you reduce your taxes and you reduce your expenses, right? And the trading business entity is a great way to do that. We have time, we have price, okay? Open range, buy side, external liquidity. Now we're waiting for the characteristics that we need to see around that price level, right? To let us know what kind of trader we'll be getting into. Step 2 stage, all right? Retracement or continuation. So keep more of your money, all right? In terms of reducing your tax bill and reducing your expenses, trim the fat of your expenses, right? Things that you're currently paying for monthly right now that you don't need, it's not a necessity. Try to cut those things out so you have more net income left over, okay? And when it comes to your taxes, obviously there's ways that you can reduce your tax bill, okay? So look for ways to reduce your tax bill, all right? Okay, so 1 minute as well in efficiency. Come into that. I would be interested in the long here. I am interested if I can get it. It may have missed me. It may have missed me, but let's see. It's too slow on the draw. I was too slow on the draw. See if it gives me the opportunity though. Oh, yep, it did. Sell 2. Close that. Sell 1 right here. 350. If we're taken out, I will be interested in a retrace. This is a continuation setup. I'll be interested in a retracement. VR to be taken out here. Let me blow my whistle, baby, whistle, baby. I'll watch this. I'll be more interested in here. First trade of the week here. First trade of the week is a continuation buy setup. We're targeting, I think it was PM session open range buy side from one of the June 3rd, I believe. June 3rd buy side up here. So once we keep more of that income, we have more net income left over, all right, for investments, right? Step 4, invest, all right? The sequence in which we want to invest first is in ourselves, all right, then our business, and then into income producing assets that buys us passive income, okay? These are the 4 steps that you need to take to create wealth, all right? Create income, increase that income, keep income, all right? Keep more of your money, all right? How do you get it? Keep it and get it to multiply, right? This is the keep it, and then the multiply part is the invest, right? Invest in income producing assets such as real estate, right? And into limited partnership. So for this trade here, do a trade quick breakdown real quick. We took session, obviously our condition for the day, all right, has been established as a buy program. We're looking to be a buyer of this market, all right. Session condition also got established as a buy program here when we took open range session buy side. We took it, all right, traded up to and through it, all right. We came back into an inefficiency back below it, okay, on the 1 minute as well here, traded back below it. This candle here traded into the inefficiency and back below that external liquidity here, and then we got a market structure shift back above it, okay, confirming a continuation setup for us here, okay. Remember, my continuation setups is the only one that is either an inefficiency or liquidity, okay, and or liquidity, I should say. The 2 things that IPTA is seeking, right? IPTA signatures, liquidity and inefficiency. Let me blow my whistle, baby. If we're taken out here, all right, it will confirm a retracement setup. and I'll be interested, right? We'll be paying for more premium insight. We'll be paying for more information if we're taken out here, right? Losses are cost of doing business, okay? It's the only thing promised to us in this industry. We accept that and we keep it pushing. Now we took a trade really close to the end of our session here. That means we're gonna be here for a little bit. Right now, all I can do, right, is pay attention to the candlesticks and their behavior and their characteristics. Let me blow my whistle, baby. One thing I don't like about taking a trade during 1050 macro is that sometimes you have to wait longer than you want to. Sometimes now I'm stuck here. a wrap up here. Well, I won't be taking any more trades, really and truly. Just managing this trade. So we'll wrap up here in a bit. I'm not wrap up. We'll do our trade performance review and break down this. We already broke down the trade, but we'll do a trade performance review in a bit. Let me just confirm my numbers are accurate. 4675, 4675, 6350, 6350. Stop 8075. Cool. Just leave those down. The low of this is AE25. Let me put it to AE25. Bear with me. AE25. So low of this candle. AE25, yep. Based on the 1 minute inefficiency, okay, because on the 15 seconds, well, would have included that up there on there. Is there a gap there? Yeah, there is a gap there. Let me blow my whistle, baby. I want to see a closure back above this inefficiency, right? For price to use it as, what would it be? Yep, reclaimed bullish fair value gap. See a closure back above it. I'm waiting for that. You haven't got that yet. So far, it's respecting as an inversion, which is not what I want to see. Closure above it. Okay, I don't want to see anybody candle closures in the lower portion of this. So closure and consequent encroachment below. Move this out the way. So we can focus on the price action at hand. I want to see you leave this inefficiency here. Spending too much time in it for me. Go close your bubble on the 1 minute. I want to see you leave it now. Once you enter the trade, once you execute, right, it's about how you're going to manage it and how you're going to close it. Okay, it's all very important. You need to have procedures and protocols in place so you're not having to second guess what's going on here. All right, would have given us bread and butter right there. Um, let's do a trade performance review. Let's do a trade performance review. What I did well today, all right, is that I showed up, right, powerfully at that. I got 1% better, gained experience, all right, learned lessons that I'll take into my next trading day, next trading session. Showed up today, followed my procedures and protocols, processes, and didn't deviate from it. Okay, market really didn't offer me anything until right now, so waited patiently for my analyst to be like, okay, here our model is here, and I executed without hesitation. Okay, with no feelings, no emotions. The outcome of this trade right now is out of my hands. Right, there's nothing more I can do other than pay attention to the candlesticks. All right, to see if I'm seeing the characteristics and what I need to see in price action to let me know that I'm on side or offside. Okay, either side of the party. Right, I'm paying attention to characteristics in price to determine that for me. Okay. Why I fell short today, I woke up by a decent hour, got my morning routine in, chart wise, showed up, did what I was supposed to do, did my job, and yeah, don't think I fell short anywhere really and truly today. Yeah, it was a good day for me here, all right? Every day, any day I'm talking about money is a good day for me, regardless of what the charts got going on. I'm reinforcing the information that I need to reinforce in myself, okay, by going over this information. So happy and pleased with my performance today. How I can improve for next day, next trading session is just keep showing up, right? Keep seeking excellence in everything that I do. Don't let short-term adversity, all right, outside factors, outside influences, all right, losses, series of losses deter me, distract me from what I got going on here. Okay, I think I got a solid foundation in terms of what I'm looking for in my model, all right, my precision protocols. Now it's just about collecting more data, gaining more experience, and adjusting and refining as based on the data that we're getting back from the market and from the candlesticks. Okay, but other than that, solid day from us here. I'm the Trader Capital. All right, keep showing up, right? Keep taking small steps in the right directions. Eventually, we'll get to our destination. Keep analyzing the data, analyzing the data. I had a really good back testing session this weekend. All right, really good. It was predominantly focused on the 15-second time frame. Okay, and just trying to get a better understanding of that time frame and how it works. Okay, so yeah, very good stuff for me. Happy to walk forward what I noticed in my back testing session this weekend, and it is doing what it's doing. It is doing what it's doing. Soon as if and when we get -2, we're gonna wrap it up here, and because I don't want these to be too long. You know what I mean? I don't want them to be too long, but this is our one and only trade. We already broke down the trade, all right? We took external liquidity, opening range session buy side, okay? We came back into an inefficiency back below, traded back below, then market structure shift back above, all right? Confirm the continuation buy setup for us. Currently, our drawn liquidity is June 3rd PM session opening range, PM session buy side, sorry. We hit both standards of deviation on the daily. Interesting. We're gonna wrap up if and when -1 gets hit, or if stop loss gets hit. If you come back below entry, we'll wrap up. And then you'll have to just keep an eye on this trade in your own charts, and we'll talk about it tomorrow if I remember in the morning. If not, it is what it is. You have the charts, you can look at it and see what got hit or didn't get hit. I'm not here to hide anything, all right, or be mischievous about anything. All right, my goal here is to run a hedge fund, and I want to be open as I can with my investors. Okay, you get to see everything firsthand, right? If you don't like what I'm doing, don't invest with me. Simple as that. I'm looking for the people that want me and what I bring to the table. And those that don't want me and what I bring to the table, keep it pushing in it. You can watch them be entertained, but if you don't want me, keep it pushing. Keep it pushing. I'm hoping by 11:30 you would have given us something by then. Hoping and praying. Excuse me. I like that we left a small portion of this inefficiency open, all right, and the bodies are closing in the upper quadrant of this inefficiency. All right, it's all good signs for me right now. So right now the characteristics are telling me that I'm on side. Big ass open range gap today, right? Price action wasn't so good in the morning, but I think lunch going on to lunch and PM session, we should see some good price action here. Some clean price action too at that. It didn't give it to us yet. Come on, man. What's the high of this? 4650. We're looking for 4675. Missed us at tick. Missed us at tick. Thank you very much. We're gonna close this, adjust the stop. Gonna go for, oh yep, there's 189. What's that? 8925. We pull yep, sell stop. See what we bagged already. I think we bagged 120 already. We bagged 120. And this is where I'm gonna leave you, love you and leave you. We hit first profit target. Okay, waiting to see if our second profit target gets hit. Stop has been adjusted. Not much we can do really in this trade, right? Except, like I said, pay attention to the characteristics. So far, I've been seeing the characteristics. All right, I want to see price. If we come down in here, respect this inefficiency here. To continue to our target, which is currently PM session from Tuesday, June 3rd. Obviously, I'm out before that. -3 is above that, so I'm gonna watch price to see how it gravitates towards this drawn liquidity. But for me here and what I'm doing, I'm Gucci Poochie. Taking 2 off. All right, it gave us 3 contracts. We took 2 off on -1. We have 1 remaining for -1.5, and it's 11:30. So we're gonna wrap this. We're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna wrap this up. And I'll get a snapshot once the trade is done. Right now the trade ain't done, so nothing for me to do. Come back into this inefficiency here. All right, I want to see it gravitate towards my draw and towards my target, as it's doing now. Different day, different market condition, same procedures, same processes, same protocols, all right? Nothing changes here, all right? I'm showing up each and every day and I'm doing the same thing, right? The outcome obviously is different. The market condition is different, but what I'm doing in terms of what I'm looking for is the same, right? Nothing changes. And that is the beauty here. And that's something that I've always strived to get to, right? When I initially go into trading, right? Just showing up, doing the same thing over and over and over again. Something that obviously that I've tested, that has proven to work, right? That will work, that is profitable and is consistent. And you're seeing that. You're seeing that. Yes, I've been taking losses. Losses are the only thing promised to me, right? But as long as I manage risk and keep following my processes, all right, the numbers are in my favor, right? I'm building a long-term career here. It's not like a get rich quick and then I'm done. I'm building a long-term career. Let's give it what? How long more should we give this? We're at 2:20. Okay, let's go. Let's give it 8 more minutes. 8 more minutes. Well, no, actually 5 more minutes because then obviously we have to wrap up, and that wrap up is another 2 minutes. So 5 more minutes here, and then we'll wrap up in 5 minutes. So we're looking at 11:38. What was that? 11:37. Yeah, we'll wrap up at 11:37. We'll wrap this up in a bow, neatly in a bow. Monday, money making Monday. Money making Monday. Yo, where did my thing go? Oh, I lost my video. I lost my bloody video. I lost my video, you know. Now I gotta make a whole new one. A whole new one. And look at this price action. Ugly fuggly juggly. This is done. You can delete this one now. Look at this price auction. Money making Monday. Let me not lose this video. Be highly annoyed. Go closure below here. Came back into it, closed back below it. Supporting price lower. Let's see if we get a closure below here. We see right now we're getting the characteristics that we're offside clearly. Clearly. But I ain't doing nothing really and truly. I'm just leaving it alone. Got a closure below here, came back into it. Use it as an inversion. We're back into this initial fair value gap here. See how price behaves. Yep, 2 more minutes, right? We'll be again out here. I said 37. We'll wrap it up. See the 1 minute. This is the low. This low will confirm that I'm completely offside, and this one will come and take me out. That'll be my warning bell, and this will be, yeah. Get out of Dodge! Oh, it's already, okay. Well, I already adjusted my stop, so that would be, yeah. You're done for right here, this market structure shift back below here. close it back below it. All right, want to see it support price lower. So completely offside here. It's coming for our stop. It's coming for our stop. Confirm a retracement setup once we get that market structure shift back down here. Well, we'll be wrapping up in about 30 seconds. We done here. We done here. I took something off and reduced risk on this trade, so whatever happens, let it do its thing. So my hands, and I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm happy with my performance today. Let's wrap this up. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a time that I would fin and still feel lost. Even on days I made money, I didn't really know why it worked. And on losing days, I had no system to fall back on. That's the difference between guessing and having a real edge. And here's the truth. Most traders only focus on entries, but consistency comes from the system behind the entry. So if you've been watching and thinking this makes sense, but I don't have the full system yet, that's exactly why I created the 10% to 1% club. That's where we go deeper into all three pillars: the full model, the risk management system, the money and mindset principles needed to join the 1% club, and the exact process to follow daily. If you're serious about becoming consistent, that is your next step. I used to think the goal was to win more trades, but the real goal is to become the type of trader who can perform no matter the outcome. Because once you have that, the results will follow. That's all for today, folks. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you in the next AM session, kicking off at 9:15 a.m. Kickoff once again at 9:15 a.m. To be on time is to be late, okay? So make sure you show up early. As always, I'm the trader here, signing out. Good luck, good trading, happy bloody hunting. Remember, you only fail when you quit.